Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to dive into a really fantastic classroom game called Difference Tally. And hey, if you've been looking for a way to finally make decimal subtraction click for your students, you are absolutely in the right place. We've all been there, right? You teach the concept, you model all the steps, but for some students, subtracting decimals just doesn't stick. So the big question is, how do we get away from just another worksheet and make the practice actually meaningful and, fun? Well, that is exactly where Difference Tally comes in. It's this super simple but really high-impact card game. It completely transforms that repetitive practice into a fun little competition. And it builds not just fluency, but, and this is the big one, it builds their confidence with decimals. All right, so here's what we're going to cover. We'll look at what Difference Tally actually is, how to set it up and play, and we'll even watch a sample round. Then we'll get into the good stuff, making that math talk happen, and finish up with some tips you can use in your classroom right away. First up, what is Difference Tally, and why is it such a perfect fit for your math block? Let's break it down. Okay, so what makes this game a real winner is how many core skills it hits all at once. I mean, it's not just about subtraction, right? Kids have to tap into their place value understanding to build their numbers strategically. They're using estimation, they're getting instant visual feedback from that tally sheet, and the best part for us, it is super low prep but keeps them completely hooked. And you know what? Getting started is so simple. So let's get into the nuts and bolts. I promise you can have this game up and running in just a few minutes. So for this setup, all you're going to need is a standard deck of cards and a worksheet for each player. First thing, just pull out all the tens and face cards, the jacks, queens, and kings. You just want the digits 1 through 9. Oh, and a quick tip, make sure you remind your students that aces count as the number 1 in this game. Okay, so here's how you play a turn. A player draws 6 cards. Their job is to use those 6 cards to make 2 3-digit decimals. So you'll have a ones place, tenths, and hundredths. Now, the key is they've got to arrange them so the bigger decimal is on top, that's the minuend, before they subtract. Then, once they get their answer, they look at their worksheet, find the range that their difference falls into, and just mark an X. The first person to fill up any 2 columns on that sheet wins. Super simple. All right, so reading rules is one thing, but seeing it play out is way better. Let's walk through a sample round together so you can really see what this looks and sounds like in a real classroom. So let's say a student draws 6 cards. They get an 8, a 2, a 9, a 6, another 8, and a 5. They have to make 2 decimals and subtract the smaller one from the bigger one. And right here, this is the first little moment of strategy. The student decides to arrange their cards to make 8.29 and 6.85. And this is where the magic really starts. Instead of them just doing the math quietly in their heads, you can prompt them, ask, hey, tell me what you're thinking. A student might say something exactly like this, explaining why they put the 8.29 on top. Okay, so next, they line up their decimal points, do the subtraction. Yep, looks like there's some regrouping involved, and boom, they get their answer, 1.44. Now they take that difference, 1.44, and connect it right back to the game. They scan their worksheet, find the column for numbers between 0 and 2.5, and get to mark that X. It's that instant feedback, that little win that keeps them so motivated to keep playing. But the conversation doesn't have to stop there. It can go even deeper. This is the perfect chance for partners to check each other's work. One student might say, hey, let's check it, and suggest adding to see if they get back to the original number. This little step is huge. It reinforces those number relationships and builds some awesome peer accountability. That little moment of checking each other's work, that's really the heart of what makes this game so powerful. See, it's not just about getting the right answer. It's about turning a simple game into a really great conversation about math. And one of the absolute best tools to make this happen is using what we call Math Talk sentence starters. They're really just short prompts that give students the words and the structure they need to explain what's going on in their heads, clearly and with confidence. For instance, you can give them starters that are all about their thinking process. Prompts like, when I subtracted, I had to regroup because... That little phrase encourages them to go beyond just spitting out an answer and to really explain the why behind what they did. And then there are starters that get them talking to each other. Imagine students asking their partners, hey, your strategy was different because you. Questions like that build a truly collaborative classroom, where they're not just waiting for the teacher, they're actually learning from each other. Okay, so you're probably getting excited to try this out, right? Let's wrap things up with a few super practical tips for bringing difference tally into your classroom and making sure it works for all your students. The real beauty of this game is just how flexible it is. It's perfect for math centers, it's awesome for partner practice, it's a lifesaver for those "I'm done, now what?" early finishers. You could even have them play in teams, where they have to debate and agree on a strategy for each turn. And hey, it's even simple enough to send home for a little extra practice. In differentiating, it is so easy. For students who might need a little more support, just have them draw 4 cards and work with decimals to the tenths place. For your kiddos who need a challenge, have them draw 8 cards and go all the way to the thousandths place. It's such a simple tweak, but the core rules of the game stay exactly the same. So at the end of the day, what does all this mean? It means we're not just practicing a skill from a textbook. We're creating a space where kids are actively thinking, talking, and really engaging with numbers in a way that actually makes sense to them. When you turn practice into play like this, you're giving students a chance to build more than just a skill. You're helping them build real mathematical confidence. So what do you say? Are you ready to shuffle the deck and bring decimal practice to life in your classroom?